Some lawmakers are heading into a major midterm election this year. Many Republicans in particular are campaigning on promises to curb the spike in crime numbers we've been seeing in cities nationwide. In our polling, more than half of registered voters say they believe immigration does in fact increase crime in the U.S. And about 1/3 of voters say they no longer feel at home in their communities. Julia Manchester from The Hill joins us now to discuss how we might see these trends play out in the midterm election cycle. Julia, good morning. Always good to see you.
Good morning. Good to see you this early in the morning, Ruta Bay.
So almost 87% of respondents, according to our polling, saying they consider immigration to be at least somewhat important. How are people who live far from the border being impacted by this issue? And how is it on their radars if they're not directly affected by it?
Well, I would say first, there's a lot of news coverage of the situation happening at the border, and it's really seeped into political rhetoric across the country when you listen to lawmakers. I mean, it's interesting to hear particularly Republican lawmakers talk about immigration and really trying to make this correlation between rising crime rates and immigration. You know, as Joe said in his package earlier, there doesn't appear to be as strong of a correlation according to data, but Republicans are very much trying to make this point, especially when it comes to illegal drugs and substances like fentanyl flowing into the country. So you have that factor. But on the other side, there's also a positive impact to this. I think you see a lot of Democrats and some Republicans talking about the positives of immigration into the United States, what it means for the U.S. economy, jobs, that kind of a thing. But I would say, I think ever since 2016, during that presidential election, when former President Trump focused so much on building the border wall and curbing illegal immigration, we've seen the Republican Party in particular really zero in on this issue in their rhetoric.
Right, and both platforms now using it as it relates to immigration, real or perceived nexus to crime. It became a Republican talking point, as you mentioned, but it's also forcing Democrats to respond.
Absolutely. I mean, especially when it comes to this issue of rising crime in the United States. I mean, it's one thing to draw the correlation between crime and immigration, but if you look across the country, especially in big cities in the United States, here in Washington, D.C., where you are in Chicago, we are seeing crime spike, and you are seeing Republicans very much trying to go on the offensive on this issue. Democrats, though, have a bit of an issue of their own when it comes to crime, and it's this issue of defunding the police and what their perceived messaging on that is. We saw a few weeks ago President Biden went to New York City to meet with Mayor Eric Adams, the new Democratic mayor of that city, and they're both very against this issue of defunding the police. In fact, you're seeing the Biden administration call for more funding for police departments. However, there are progressives in the Democratic Party who do believe that resources should be allocated from police departments to other parts of local government in an effort to curb crime. So very much of a division on the Democratic side of the aisle when it comes to how to address rising crime.
Yeah, and our polling also talked about this concept of people not feeling at home in their own communities. More than 1/3 of U.S. voters say they feel that way, according to our poll. What is causing that? Is that also rhetoric? Is that crime? What do you think that is?
You know, I think it could be rhetoric, but also I think it's related to crime and how someone feels safe in their community. Look, we are seeing, especially after the pandemic, or during the pandemic, excuse me, we're still in it, but we're seeing this rising, starkly rising crime rates, and people are home more, for example. So I think there's probably a sense of people feeling unsafe in their own homes, unsafe in their own communities, and that's sort of driving this idea that, or feeling that they don't feel safe or at home in their own communities.
All right, Julia Manchester, always putting the news in perspective for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.